Alright, I just finished My Life in Court by Louis Nizer, published in 1961. I kept a bunch of notes in the pages and stuff. You can see his little pictures of him. If you type in Louis Nizer in the Google search, you'll find his name, or you find pictures of him. He lived to his 90s, died in 94. But this book covers the mid part of the 60s, mid part of the 1900s after the World War II, and it goes through about six cases of very different like themes. Okay, the first one is one that he was kind of famous for. All right, which kind of opened the doors for more successful libel cases. In the Quentin Reynolds versus Westbrook Pegler, Nizer represented the plaintiff, and they won. All right, it's pretty simple as that. They had to prove that Pegler was a little careless with spreading rumors in his newspapers, and nationally published newspapers at that, about Quentin Reynolds. There was some kind of personal beef between the two, and Pegler lost, pretty much. That's the takeaway of that. It's not really a spoiler, I wouldn't think. It's an interesting case study to read. All right, in real good detail from the word of the lawyer. Divorce. There was a famous divorce too. No, I don't have. It was no. It was between two famous people, and there's a lot at stake. One the wife was a famous swimmer. The husband was a famous actor, and I don't know. I guess. I forget. He might have been cheating on her, but she didn't. And he wanted to get a divorce and marry his newfound love, and the wife wouldn't let go of that. That's the only way you could get a divorce, is to prove infidelity. Back then, you had to prove infidelity, and both parties had to agree. Well, if there was infidelity, then you could prove it with to take the evidence to court. Then you could get the divorce. If you can't prove the infidelity, then the marriage sticks, unless both parties agree to divorce. One party can't just say I'm going to get a divorce and that's it. You get divorced. It didn't work like that back in the old days. All right, it's so much easier to get a divorce today. So this guy, he was trying to get a divorce to marry, so he could marry his new sweetheart. He was going to different states because every state had a different rule for divorce. He even went to Mexico and got his divorce annulled there. But they got married originally in New York, and New York, I don't know, didn't recognize it or something like that. They had to argue that. They had to take it to court for New York not to recognize it. There's a lot of detail at that time. It's interesting because it's done differently today. All right, anybody can marry anybody, and anybody can divorce however they feel like. Okay, and then there's another famous case for the song called Rum and Cola. I don't get it. I'm not a big fan of the song myself. I listen to it on the YouTubes. Some people like it though, of course. It's just it has a certain ring with people. But the background music, all right, the ladies singing, their words, that's original. But the tune, the actual instruments used, came out of Trinidad in Africa, and it was a particular kind of calypso music that they practiced over there. And this is during World War II. A lot of soldiers listened to it, and this song there was kind of copied, and the music tune to it, which it sounds very simple if you listen to it, but that was brought to court, and Nizer represented the plaintiff, and they won. He won the plagiarized song case. There was another, the Nazism in America. I think he was representing a plaintiff, and it had a lot to do with publication and newspapers and stuff for this case. There's a lot of detail about it, but Nazism was pretty big back then, and anybody who got accused of being a Nazi would go through a lot of, I think, being blacklisted or something. So they wanted to clean their reputation up, and they took it to court with that. Nizer pretty much won all his cases. He talked about the trials and tribulations he went through. There's another one which is interesting, and the husband died, and the wife was suing. The husband died from a train accident, and the wife sued the train. There's like 100 and some odd people that died in this train accident outside of New York, and a wife of one of the guys that died sued for loss of income. She was in her early 30s, and she had a child. What was she going to do? She relied completely on her husband's work, because that was the time when women relied on the men, and they had to figure the future prospective earnings for this husband, and they brought in these intelligent tests that the husband did before he died. They were sitting in a closet. They brought them in. Then this is the interesting part to me, is just this is like experimental at the time. They didn't really have a lot of solid proof on test taking to show your potential for accumulation and wealth. Okay, the smarter you are, the better you do at tests, the more likely you are supposed to the more likely you are to make more money in the future, because you're showing that you have that potential and all that. And Nizer brought that into the court case, and the lawyer for the insurance company that was fighting against payouts, he put up quite a lot of a fight. If you ever have to deal with an insurance lawyer, expect a real jerk to just question everything about you. All right, he questioned everything about the test. He was picking the easiest questions, and he's like, does this prove that this guy has potential to be rich in his future? Like, what if just simple little questions, like, if I don't know, if maybe I can't think of any questions. I'd have to look at it. There were like simple questions, but it had to do with like just intellectual tests like that were being introduced into the system, which they're prevalent now today. All right, and then the proxy battle, which is fascinating. It's about a movie theater where the owners and the managers were at odds with each other. The stockholders, there's a few on the board. You have the board of directors. They all battled, and there was an attempt at a takeover. I find it interesting. Nizer's talking about, he had a nephew who would go treasure hunting and try to find money and make a big find and get rich like that. And he was like, well, he should have done proxy battles instead. You get a treasure there by taking over companies. But then he goes on to talk about how the people who tried to take over the company failed and just had to quit, stop doing what they're doing. So it's not exactly a treasure hunt to do this proxy battle if you're going to fail. So he made a really weak point for his nephew going treasure hunting by scuba diving and looking at buried treasure or something. Might as well just look for buried treasure, because proxy battles can be messy and ugly, and there's a lot of legalities to that, which is interesting. So I like this book. I mean, it's dated, but still it gives you a background of how legal procedures are going today, how things have changed from just 50, 60 years ago till now.